Reach for the top. With your host and quizmaster, Professor Robert Garland.
Thank you, Don. It's game 9 of Reach for the Top. And, of course, the winner of today's competition wants to join the growing list of winning teams that already have been placed on our scoreboard, as you can see. We have 2 scores today who are relatively new to Reach for the Top. One has never been here before, Miramichi Valley High School, and Cambridge was here several years ago. This game will find Miramichi Valley on the top rank through the toss of the coin, Cambridge High on the bottom. Let's meet the respective members. Miramichi Valley making their debut on Reach for the Top. We have Derek McKinnon, Dugan O'Neill, Toby Blackmore, and Laurie Foran, and their coach is Manfred Wasson. And downstairs, Cambridge High School from Queens County, we Harry Susi, Nancy Dykeman, Stephanie Bedford, and Robin True. Your coaches, Jack McLaughlin, Dave Doucette, and Malcolm Miller. All right, you want to become a winner. Remember, the winner remains in competition. The loser, unfortunately, is eliminated in this year's series. Let's start off with some snappers for 10 points each. What does the D in DC Comics stand for? Any nostalgia buffs? Detective. Name Canada's first Francophone Prime Minister. Dugan.
Wilfrid Laurier?
Yes, for 10. What branch of mathematics deals with changing quantities? How about calculus? Who's the president of Nicaragua? Dugan?
Ortega.
All right, Daniel Ortega. What name is given to a natural satellite which revolves around a planet in a fixed orbit? Derek.
Moon.
It's a moon. Let's turn our attention now to questions involving the word French. I have 3 of them for 10 each. This is used by tailors for marking fabric and by dry cleaners for removing grease spots. It's called French what? French chalk. Chalk. This is an association of scholars founded in 1635 to set and maintain the standards of correct use of the French language. I want you to give me the title in English or French of that association. That's the French Academy, or the Académie Française. They're working on a dictionary. Some of you know, got up to the letter F. If a shirt or blouse has a French cuff, what does it look like? You're probably wearing one. French cuff, that's one that has a folded, wide cuff fastened with cuff links. Scramble, 35 possible points in total, 5 for the scramble. You know how this works. Whoever gets the scramble question then is eligible for the remaining questions on the same subject. A periodic table is an arrangement of chemical elements in order of their atomic what? Toby.
Masses.
Not masses, no. Rich? Stephanie.
Number?
Number is what I want. Atomic number. All right. These questions are all directed at Cambridge, and they deal with the periodic table of the elements. First one for 10. Neon, argon, and radon share what chemical property? Stephanie?
All gases?
Yes, but they're all inert gases or inactive gases. Which group contains metals of valence 2, including calcium, strontium, and barium? Which? That's the alkaline earth metals. Finally, for 10, what name is given to the group of soft, low-density, highly reactive metals such as lithium, sodium, and potassium? What's that group? That's the alkali metals. World currencies. I have 3 questions, 10 each. The currency of the Soviet Union is the ruble. 1 ruble is divided into how many kopecks? Eric.
100.
All right. Egypt, Lebanon, and Syria use what standard unit of currency? Dugan?
Dinar.
No. Cambridge? They use the pound. Despite its status as a British colony, Hong Kong uses what currency? Robin?
Deutsche Mark.
No. Miramichi uses the dollar. Hong Kong dollar. Geography. I want you to identify the provinces or the territories which fit the descriptions that I will provide. 10 points each. Which of Canada's provinces or territories is the smallest in area? Eric.
Prince Edward Island.
Yes, it is. In which province or territory is Canada's westernmost point? Toby?
BC.
No. Figure? Barry.
Yukon.
Yukon Territory. Which of Canada's provinces or territories has the longest coastline? Dugan.
BC.
No, not BC. Cambridge. Stephanie?
New Brunswick.
Northwest Territories. Finally, for 10, of Canada's provinces or territories, which has the most forested land? Stephanie?
New Brunswick.
No. No, she. Dugan.
British Columbia.
Quebec. Quebec. A music question. These are flashbacks to Motown music of the 60s. Some of you may know these. I want you to tell me who recorded each of the works for 10 points each. Let's listen to this first one. Tell me who recorded it.
And thank you, baby. I want to stop and thank you, baby. Hey, now, how sweet is love.
That is Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye. This second one is a group that became popular with having one of its members big in the 80s. Listen to the number and tell me who's singing it. Toby.
The Supremes.
No. Stephanie.
Jackson 5.
That's a Jackson 5, from which Michael Jackson, of course, emerged. And this last one has a very alluring group name. Who is the singer? Just my imagination running away with me. No help? Toby.
Smokey Robinson.
No. That's the Temptations. The Temptations. Botany, 3 10-point questions. What is evaporation of water from the leaves of plants called? Stephanie?
Transpiration.
All right. In what plant part or structure does the process take place that causes plants to be green? Dugan.
The leaf.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. Cambridge? The chloroplasts. The chloroplasts. What's the green pigment in chloroplasts called? Toby?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. All right. Let's finish the first round of this game with some snappers for 10 points each. In international soccer, what city hosted the first ever World Cup? Robin?
England.
No. Miramichi? Montevideo, Uruguay. In the Arctic, what is the Inuit name for a conical hill with a core of ice? They're called pingos, those mounds. Who was the man of steel of the Soviet Union? Stephanie?
Gorbachev.
No, Miramichi. Derek?
Stalin.
Stalin. I was hoping somebody would say Superman, and then I could really get after you. What type of nuclear reactor harnesses energy from the union of atoms? Dugan?
Fusion.
Yes, for 10. Well, we have a game which at midpoint has Miramichi Valley in the lead with 80, Cambridge 35. We will verify scores and go into our long home stretch after we return from this short break.
Your favorite Sesame Street characters right here on CHSJ each weekday morning at 9 o'clock.
Disney, this Sunday evening at 6 o'clock.
Our competitors from Newcastle are in the lead 80-35 at the break point. We're going into the long home stretch to determine the eventual winner of this contest, still an open game. This is where I'm going to pair you off with your opposite number, beginning with Derek and going down and then up and down across both teams. I'm going to direct a question at each of you individually, 10 possible points. If you miss it, your opponent has the same chance for 5. All of these questions deal with lions, the animal. We'll start with Derek for 10 possible points. Derek, what a French nickname did King Richard I of England earn on the Crusades because of his great courage?
Leo?
No. Terry for 5.
Lionhearted?
Richard the Lionhearted, Coeur de Lion is what I want. Coeur de Lion. All right. Now, Terry, we'll give you 1 for 10. What popular expression means that someone is recklessly and needlessly endangering himself? Derek for 5. To place oneself in the lion's mouth. All right. Dugan for 10. A lion is the symbol of which of the tribes of Israel, which is, according to the Bible, couched as a lion and as an old lion? Which tribe? Nancy for 5? That's Judah. We've got to get down to you, Nancy, now for 10. Androcles and the Lion is an old fable about a runaway slave who befriends an injured lion. Which modern playwright wrote his own version of that in 1916? Dugan for 5? That was Shaw, G.B. Shaw. Toby, 10 possible for you. What animal was formerly believed to be the lion's provider, working to the lion's advantage? Stephanie for 5? That's the jackal, Now, Stephanie, turn. In the 1965 film Born Free, what's the name of the lioness raised by the Adamses at their home in Kenya? Toby for 5? Elsa. Let's go to Laurie. Which mythological hero slew the Nemean lion as the first of his 12 great labors and then wore its impenetrable skin for protection? Robin? Hercules. Remember Hercules slew the lion? And now Robin for 10. Which film studio's motto features a roaring lion in a cameo-like frame?
Universal Studios?
No. Laurie for 5.
MGM?
MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. All right. Last words. I've got 3 10-point questions. I'm going to provide you with an historical figure's last words, a quotation, along with a clue. And then I want you to tell me who said it. This first one. Which king shouted just 2 words before he died in battle? And the 2 words were treason, treason. It was August 22nd, 1485. He was killed by Henry Tudor at Bosworth Field. That was Richard III. Whose dying words were these? Let us now relieve the Romans of their fears by the death of a feeble old man. He was one of the foremost military commanders in history. He died by his own hand. He led 35,000 select troops across the Alps to help his elephants, Toby.
Hannibal.
Hannibal of Carthage, yes, the elephants give it away, doesn't it? All right, final 10-point possible. These final words were for her children. Farewell, my children, forever. I am going to your father. She was born in Vienna in 1755. She was 38 when she was executed for treason in France. Stephanie.
Marie Antoinette?
Yes, that's right, Marie Antoinette, with her head being cut off. History. I want you to identify the kings of the past. I have 3 10-point questions. Which king of Egypt built Egypt's largest pyramid in Giza? Toby.
Ramesses.
Not Ramses. Cambridge? That was Khufu or Cheops. In 1936, which king of England abdicated his throne so that he could marry the American? Yes, Laurie.
Edward?
The...
Third?
No. Cambridge, he married Mrs. Wallace Warfield Simpson. Which Edward? Stephanie.
Fifth.
Edward VIII. Which king, along with his queen Isabella, financed Christopher Columbus's first voyage? Stephanie?
Ferdinand?
King Ferdinand of Castile, all right? What am I? We start off with a 40-point clue. And as we add clues, we take 10 points away, all right? First one. It's a hybrid between the blackberry and the red raspberry. Not an awful lot to go on, but you can try it for 40 points. Second clue for 30. It was named after the man who discovered it in his garden in 1881. Yes, Stephanie?
Boysenberry?
No. Miramichi, let me finish for you. It makes very tasty jam and jelly, has great commercial value. You want to try for 30? Dugan?
Cranberry?
No. Let's go on to the third clue for 20. Its berries are extremely large, purplish red and tart. Stephanie?
Strawberry?
No. Let me finish, Miramichi. The distinctive flavor of both the blackberry and the raspberry give it a taste. One of its varieties is the boysenberry. What am I? Final clue. All right, Toby.
The huckleberry?
No, let me go on to the final for 10. The man who discovered it in his garden was J.H. Logan. Anyone? The Loganberry. Dictionary. This is a special 20-point question. Obviously, the answer must be a little more difficult, or we wouldn't increase the value. 20 points. It's a multiple-choice question. I want you to give me the true definition of the word splud, S-B-L-O-O-D. Is it a new breed of potato grown by hydroponics, a slang term used to describe the sound one makes when walking through wet mud, or an old-fashioned form of the exclamation meaning God's blood? Which is it for? Stephanie?
Old-fashioned explanation?
Yes, it is the old-fashioned form of God's blood. Splud. Oh, no, I can see walking through wet mud making that noise. A. The letter A in math. All the responses begin with the letter A. 3 for 10 each. What name is given to a line about which a geometrical object is symmetrical? That is the axis, axis. What word describes a line which approaches a curve but does not touch the curve? Derek.
Asymptote?
All right. What's the name for the x-coordinate of a point in a Cartesian coordinate system? Abscisca. Abscisca. 40 points on Western Canada, 10 each. The Palace Grand Theatre, which was built in 1899, is the principal venue for the Gold Rush Festival held in which Yukon community? Toby.
Dawson City.
All right. What's the name of the well-known floral gardens and tourist attraction near Victoria, BC? The Bouchard Gardens. What's the name of a 60-acre museum community in Calgary which recreates various aspects of prairie life in the period? Yes, Toby.
Banff?
No, not Banff. Cambridge. Period 740 to 1914. Heritage Park. Finally, for 10, given its nickname in 1867, what part of downtown Vancouver is now a lively area with shops, clubs, restaurants, and old buildings restored to the 1880s period? Gastown. Let's go to word puzzles. I have 3, and the answers are all letters, an individual letter in each case. The first one for 10. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word, meaning to redeem from captivity by paying a demanded price, to create a second word, meaning a flat termination to a stern above the water line? The letter is a T, ransom and transom. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word, meaning to send forth liquid, light, heat, to create a second word, meaning to refrain from inflicting or enforcing as a punishment or a sentence? The letter is R, emit and remit. Finally, what letter must be added to the beginning of a word, meaning the people comprising a military force, to create a second word, meaning a device to restrain the tongue, formerly used to punish a shrew or scold? Stephanie.
M?
Not M, no. Miramichi? It's a B, ranks and branks. 35-point scramble. 5 for the initial scramble question. Which country has the following cities located in it? Manukau, Christchurch, Auckland, and Wellington? Laurie?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Main questions on New Zealand are directed at Miramichi Valley. 10 each. Which Polynesian group from the Eastern Pacific reached New Zealand, Laurie?
Maori.
All right. The ANZUS, ANZUS Treaty of Mutual Security with the U.S. and Australia was signed in 1951. What issue caused a strain on the ANZUS alliance in 1985? The issue. New Zealand, sorry, Dugan?
It was a sinking of a Greenpeace ship.
No, this was New Zealand's refusal to allow U.S. warships with nuclear weapons into its ports. Finally, what flagship of the Greenpeace organization was bombed and sunk in Auckland Harbor by French Secret Service agents in July of 1985? The name of the ship, the Rainbow Warrior. Let's have some 10-point snappers. Which new film on the subject of teenage pregnancy stars Molly Ringwald? Barry.
For keeps.
Treasure Island was written by whom, Derek?
Robert Louis Stevenson.
What was Erwin Rommel's nickname? The Desert Fox, Rommel. Which NHL team has won the most Stanley Cups, Toby?
Montreal Canadiens.
What is the term for the change of velocity per unit time? Dugan?
Acceleration.
Yes, it is. These are music questions, but I have no music. All I want to do is mention to you the title of an album, and you tell me who is the Canadian recording artist. First album was called Alien Shores. Laurie?
Platinum Blonde.
How about the Great White North? Laurie?
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah. Reckless? Dugan?
Bryan Adams.
And Boy in the Box. Dugan?
Corey Hart.
Is that what you do in Newcastle all the time?
Exactly.
Sit and listen to albums. All right. That buzzer indicates we're coming to the close of our game, but before we tabulate the final scores, let's continue with some snappers for 10 points each, see what happens. What's the device for producing nuclear energy by controlled nuclear reactions? It's called what? Toby?
Nuclear accelerator.
No. Cambridge? Barry?
Nuclear reactor.
That's what I want. What's Jordan's capital and largest city? Jordan. Amman, or Amman. What's the world's largest and oldest man-made waterway? Stephanie?
Panama.
No. And Toby?
The Suez Canal.
The Grand Canal in Venice. Who were the priests of ancient Celtic Britain, Ireland, and Gaul, and probably of all ancient Celtic peoples? What did you call the priests? The Druids. Remember they painted themselves blue and danced around naked or something? What's the site for collecting, processing, typing, and storing whole blood and blood products? Is it?
Blood bank.
Yes, a blood bank. What city is the home of the University of Alaska? Susan?
Anchorage.
No. Cambridge? Stephanie?
Lethbridge?
Fairbanks. What substance imparts color to other materials? Laurie?
Dye.
No, not dye. Cambridge? Pigment's what I want. Who was the first president of Kenya, the African country of Kenya? Who was the first president? Kenyatta. Jomo Kenyatta. Built in 1598. What was the London playhouse where most of Shakespeare's plays were presented? Laurie?
King Arthur.
No. Cambridge? Stephanie?
Old Vic.
The Globe Theater. What's the collective name for all of the chains of mountains in western North America? Be careful, Dugan.
Rocky Mountain Range.
No. Cambridge. It's called the Cordilleras. Cordilleras or Cordilleras. What type of forces hold subatomic particles together? Terry?
Intermolecular forces.
Not molecular, no. Miramichi? Electric forces. Well, that ends the game. Miramichi Valley, you made a debut on Reach for the Top with a victory of 210 apparently. Cambridge, 95. We will verify scores, declare a winner for this game, and see who goes on in competition after this short break.
The peregrine falcon is one of the most spectacular aerial hunters. often attaining a speed of over 150 miles an hour in a dive. He's helped in the hunt for food by telescopic eyes that are larger than a man's. The peregrine nests on craggy ledges and will lay from 2 to 6 eggs. But the indiscriminate use of insecticides has sharply limited the falcon's ability to reproduce, and it's extinct in eastern Canada. The remaining peregrines breed from Alaska to Greenland, migrate to wintering grounds in California and Florida. For more information on the peregrine falcon, contact the Canadian Wildlife Service in Ottawa.
Game 9 is history, and Miramichi Valley is to be congratulated on their victory 210-95 over Cambridge. Of course, we'll be seeing Derek and Dugan and Toby and Laurie again. They're anxious to get on to that provincial championship. The best of luck to Cambridge. There has to be a loser, unfortunately, and we hope that you'll come back to join us again some other time. We will be back with another game in our competition when next we meet you. Charles Lamb closes us off today with his comment that the good things of life are not to be had singly, but come to us with a mixture. Until next time on Reach for the Top, thank you very much for being with us.
Refreshments for contestants on Reach for the Top are provided by Pepsi.
Oh, looks like you're forever cleaning windows. What a job.
With your host and quizmaster, Professor Robert Gurd.
Game 18 of Reach for the Top. We're getting down to the serious ones now. Both of the teams returning today already have one victory. Miramichi Valley High School from Newcastle previously defeated Cambridge in their contest, and JMA Armstrong High from Salisbury previously defeated Dalhousie. So the loser today, unfortunately, is eliminated. We're getting closer to that eventual provincial championship. Let's meet our returning members of our two returning squads. JMA Armstrong High, we have John Murphy, Kelly Wheaton, Sean White, and Jamie Lutz, and Jane Lennox is the coach. Downstairs, Miramichi Valley, we have Derek McKinnon, Dugan O'Neill, Toby Blackmore, and Laurie Foran. Their coach is Manfred Wasson. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens with Game 18. The winner continues in competition. The loser has to drop out. Let's start with some snappers for 10 points each. Name the number which begins with a 1 and is followed by 100 zeros. Jonathan.
Google?
Yes. Of what country is Oscar Arias Sanchez the president? Jonathan.
Mexico?
No. Miramichi? Costa Rica. He's the one that won the Nobel Peace Prize. What term refers to the French civil wars in the mid-1600s? The term? Fronde. F-R-N-D-E. Name the type of tap water which makes the lathering of soap difficult. Toby.
Hard water.
Yes. In Chinese tradition, what animal represents the empress? Jonathan?
Dragon?
Not the dragon, no. Miramichi? The phoenix, the winged bird. What is England's highest order of knighthood as we get into 30-point questions on orders? What is England's highest order of knighthood for 10? Sean?
Earl?
No, the Order of Knighthood, Miramichi. The Order of the Garter. The Order of the Garter. For another 10 points, what is Britain's highest military award for valor? Dugan?
Victoria Cross.
Right. In the old Honeymooners show, Ralph Cramden and Ed Norton belonged to the Loyal Order of the Raccoons. Who were the actors that played those roles? Jonathan?
Art Carney and Jackie Gleason.
That's right, Gleason and Carney. This is a 20-point art question. I want you to watch the monitor, and the two questions are both about the same artwork. This is a depiction of a poor family's evening meal. It was painted by a Dutch master. Who is the painter? Laurie?
Rembrandt?
No, not Rembrandt. Armstrong? That's Jonathan.
Van Gogh.
That's Van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh or Van Gogh. The painting is titled for the principal food that they were eating. What was the evening meal? Did you notice? For 10 points? Toby?
Bread.
No. Armstrong? Jonathan?
Potatoes.
Potatoes, yes. It was called the Potato Eaters. Let's go to a 35-point scramble question. 5 for the scramble. Whatever team gets this, of course, is eligible for the remaining questions. What is the largest island in the archipelago of the same name at the southern tip of South America? Dugan?
Tierra del Fuego.
Yes, Tierra del Fuego. Don't tell yourself it's not right. All right. The remaining questions all deal with the island of Tierra del Fuego, and there are 3 for 10 each, directed near Miramichi Valley. Who first discovered this island and named it the Land of Fire? Dugan?
Magellan.
Magellan on his circumnavigation of the globe. This island is shared by 2 other South American countries, by 2 countries, name them. 2 South American countries. Dugan?
Argentina and Chile.
All right. Located on the mainland peninsula, what is the world's southernmost city? Punta Arenas, Argentina. All right, let's turn our attention to history. I have 3 10-point questions, all dealing with European history. A strip of German territory was awarded to newly independent Poland by the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Anyone? The Polish Corridor, the Danzig Corridor? Which agreement among the emperors of Russia and Austria and the King of Prussia in 1815 was part of the complex redesign of Europe after the fall of the Napoleonic Empire? The Holy Alliance. The Holy Alliance. You recall the 3 Emperors League or the Holy Alliance? Which German political leader was Chancellor of West Germany from 1974 to 1902? Chancellor was Schmidt. Helmut Schmidt. Let's turn to some Canadiana questions. These all deal with Canadian women. Women of the past, women of the present. I have 4 for 10 each. Who was the first woman to be named Minister of External Affairs in 1979? Dugan?
Laura MacDonald.
Yes, that's right. Who began the Women's Institutes in 1897 so that women could be taught to care for children and run the home in a hygienic and efficient manner? Founder of the Women's Institutes was Adelaide Hoodless. Which celebrated short story writer is best known for Lives of Girls and Women? Dugan?
Margaret Atwood.
No, let me finish, Armstrong. And The Moons of Jupiter. Female author. Alice Munro. Finally, one of Canada's best-known broadcasters and interviewers who appears as a regular panelist on the TV show Front Page Challenge. The woman is? Laurie.
Betty Kennedy?
Betty Kennedy, right. A music question. A possible 40 points, 10 for each correct response. Into this first selection, and I have 2 questions about it, and then I have another selection. The first one. Concerto, obviously, composed by a German. It's called the Concerto for 2 Harpsichords. Who is the composer? Derek.
Bach.
Bach, J.S. Bach, right. All right, this concerto, the one you just listened to, belongs to what period of music? Derek.
Baroque.
Yes, it does. All right, now this second selection, I want you to tell me the composer of this. From an opera, obviously. It's a vocal solo. The opera is Tosca. Help anybody? Tosca? Composed by Puccini. What is the operatic term for a solo vocal piece such as that? Kelly?
Aria.
All right, it's an aria. Let's turn to flight. 3 10-point questions. What team of brothers were the first two people to successfully... yes, Dugan.
Wilbur and Orville Wright.
No, sir. You should have let me finish. To successfully complete a sustained flight, Armstrong. Not the Wright brothers. Montgolfier, French. Jacques Etienne and Joseph Michel Montgolfier. The Montgolfiers' first balloon was fueled by a smoldering fire due to their belief that what element allowed them to float? Jonathan.
Oxygen?
No. Toby.
Fire.
Smoke. Smoke. Almost 120 years after the Montgolfiers, another team of brothers made history by becoming the first to successfully complete Dugan.
Wilbur and Orville Wright.
There are your Wright brothers, heavier than air flight. All right. Let's finish the first round of this game with some 10-point snappers. 2 of 3 musketeers in the book of that name were Portus and Athos. Dugan.
Aramis.
All right, that was the third one. Jack Dawkins, a youthful thief in Dickens' novel Oliver Twist, was known by what nickname? Yes, Jonathan.
Fagin?
Not Fagin, no. Laurie.
Kip?
The Artful Dodger. The Artful Dodger. Which is Canada's largest province in area? Jonathan.
Quebec?
Yes, it is. What is the principal occupation associated with Canadian Michael Snow? Michael Snow? He's a painter, an artist. What color can be obtained by combining all the primary and secondary colors? Dugan.
White.
Not white, no. Armstrong Kelly.
Black.
Brown. Brown. Well, very spirited first half of this game. Miramichi Valley is in the lead, 105 to Armstrong's 60. We will verify scores and be back to continue with this game after this short pause.
This is CLR. Clear. An amazing product that instantly dissolves calcium and lime stains that you can't scrub away. Watch as CLR dissolves the hard water scales from this humidifier filter. Have you ever seen anything like it? No amount of scrubbing was able to remove the stains from this coffee decanter. But a little CLR and water gets it crystal clean instantly. Watch how Clear wipes away hard water film from tile. Makes shower doors shine crystal clear. CLR instantly removes unsightly stains from your bathtub, sink, and toilet bowl. And nothing cleans your coffee maker, steam iron, tea kettle, or pots and pans faster or better. Get CLR. It will work for you or your money back.
At participating Woolco, Woolworth, Kmart, Kresge, Towers, Bonnie Mart, Zellers, Co-op stores, Canadian Tire, Do-It Centers, Home Hardware, McLeod's, Pro Hardware, Safeway, Sobeys, and Woodward's Food.
Well, game 18 is still anyone's to win. We have a confirmed score of 105 for Miramichi Valley and 60 points for JMA Armstrong. Let's return to the home stretch of this contest. The outcome, obviously, being very important for both teams. In this exercise, as you probably know, I'm going to pair you off with your opponents. We begin with Jonathan, and then we move down to Derek. Jonathan has a chance for 10, and if he misses, then Derek can have the same opportunity for 5, and we move across both teams in the same way. All these questions deal with common sayings or proverbs. I'll give you the first part of the saying, and then you complete it. I'm not saying this is easy. Let's begin with Jonathan for 10 points. Never speak ill of...
Anyone?
No. Derek for 5.
Anybody?
The dead. Never speak ill of the dead. Now we go down to Derek. Maybe this one's not so difficult for 10 points. When in Rome... Jonathan for 5.
Do as the Romans?
Do as the Romans do is the expression, to be precise. Kelly, let's move to you for 10. Whom the gods love...
Loves the gods.
No. Let's go down to Dugan for 5. Whom the gods love...
Are privileged.
Die young. Whom the gods love, die young. Now, Dugan for 10. You pays your money... Kelly? and you take your choice. You pay your money and you take your choice, or you takes your chance. Let's go over to Sean. Nothing is certain but. Toby. Pardon?
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes for 10, just under the wire, Sean. Okay, now we'll go down to Toby. Adversity makes strange...
Bedfellows.
Yes, indeed. Good for 10. Now, Jamie. None but the brave. No. Laurie, for 5. Deserve the fair. None but the brave deserve the fair. Laurie, for 10. The pen is mightier than...
The hand.
No, Jamie? The sword. That's what we want. Okay, good on those. Chemistry. We have 3 10-point questions on chemistry. What English chemist hypothesized that all atoms of the same element were identical to each other and different from the atoms of all other elements? Kelly?
Newton.
No. Toby?
Rutherford.
That was Dalton, John Dalton. What concept was introduced about the middle of the 19th century to represent the combining capacity of an atom with a number? The concept. Valency. According to a principle first stated in 1915, no 2 electrons in an atom can have the same set of quantum numbers. By what name is that concept known? Jonathan?
Pauli exclusion principle?
Right, Pauli exclusion principle, exactly, after Wolfgang Pauli. All right, current events, Persian Gulf conflict of recent date. You remember? We have 3 10-point questions. On March 16, 1988, Iraqi warplanes attacked the Kurdish border town of Halabja with cyanide and mustard gas. An estimated 5,000 people were killed, another 5,000 were injured. Iranian forces had previously captured the town, but why would the Iraqis attack the Kurds, who are Iranians? Why did they attack the Kurds? Remember that? Well, the Kurds are seeking independence from Iraq, so they're, in a sense, revolting. The second for 10 points. The effects of mustard gas poisoning are devastating. Doctors examined victims for signs of bone marrow damage. One of the side effects of mustard gas is that it causes a form of what potentially fatal blood disease?
Leukemia.
Leukemia. An Iranian doctor, a leading authority on chemical warfare, said that Iraq had stockpiled 2 types of nerve gas. VX is so dangerous that 1 drop on the skin can be lethal, and the other, Tabun, T-A-B-U-N, paralyzes the nervous system, making it impossible to do what? Jonathan?
Feel pain?
No. What's Dugan?
Breathe.
Breathe. You can't catch your breath. That's exactly right. Sports. I have 3 10-point questions on sports. I want you to name the only heavyweight champion ever to remain undefeated throughout his entire career, Jonathan.
Rocky Marciano?
Yes, that's right. In which 1912 Olympic event did it take Martin Klein 11 hours and 40 minutes to beat Alfred? Yes, Jonathan.
Marathon?
No. To beat Dugan.
Walkathon.
Wrestling. Wrestling. It took him all the time, 11 hours to beat his opponent. Who was the first major league player to have a pitch officially clocked at 100 miles an hour? Jonathan.
Nolan Ryan?
Yes, that's right. What am I? We start off with 40 possible points. First clue. Although no positive trace of me remains, scholars know about me from an account by a priest who lived during the 2nd century B.C. Am I? Second clue, 30 points. I was described as being laid out on a brick terrace about 400 feet square and 75 feet above the ground. I was located near modern Baghdad in Iraq. What am I? 20 point, third clue. I was built by King Nebuchadnezzar II to irrigate... Yes, Kelly?
The Ark of the Covenant.
No. Remember, she let me finish for you. Toby, I can finish it if you will permit me. I was built by King Nebuchadnezzar II to irrigate some trees. Slaves worked in shifts, turning screws to lift water from the Euphrates. Now, Toby.
Hanging Garden.
The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. That's what I'm looking for. 20 points. I'm the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Watch the monitor again, because these are artists, and I do have, in each case, a question for you of the paintings. This first one of a group of 3 was painted by a French artist who was admired by Napoleon. It's called Mounted Officer of the Guard. Who is the artist? That's Guerrico, Theodore Guerrico. This second one is Napoleon himself, painted by the master of classicism. Who's the painter of Napoleon? David, Jacques David. And this last one, a famous colorist and romantic artist, painted this magnificent scene of a British warship being towed out of service. It's called The Fighting Temeraire, towed to her last berth. Who's the painter? Eric.
Van Gogh?
No. Armstrong? Turner. That's William Turner. Special multiple choice question on the dictionary. Obviously, the extra weight is indicative of the difficult answer. I want a true definition for the word UPAS, UPAS, UPAS. Now, these are your possible choices. Is UPAS an acronym for United Polar Aerospace Society? Is it a tree from the East Indian Islands yielding sap of deadly poison? Or is it a traditional type of Greek wine consumed only during religious ceremonies? Kelly.
The second one.
Which is? What was the second one?
The tree that produces the
All right,
sap.
the tree from the East Indian Islands yielding sap of deadly poison. That's what an upas is. Yes, good for 20 points. Geography. Identify the European town cities from these three clues, 10 each. Which town in southwest France is visited each year by millions to view the Roman Catholic shrine where the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared to Saint Bernadette? The shrine is Lourdes in France. The landmarks of which city include the Gothic Doge's Palace, the Bridge of Sighs, and the Grand Canal? Laurie.
Venice.
That's Venice. Which city is situated on the Tagus River and is Portugal's largest city? Dugan?
Lisbon.
Lisbon, all right. 35-point scramble. 5 for the score. What do we call a system of measuring time in which the beginning, duration, and divisions of the year are defined? Jonathan.
Gregorian calendar?
It's calendar. Whether it's Gregorian or Georgian is irrelevant. It's calendar. All right, the remaining questions dealing with the calendar are all directed at Armstrong. It's worth 10 each. How many days in advance of the old Julian calendar is the Gregorian calendar now in common usage, since you brought it up? How many days in advance? 13. Sorry, Kelly, 13. This Rachel, 13. The year 1988 was the year of the dragon in the Chinese lunar calendar. Which of the 12 animal designations in the Chinese calendar corresponds to the year 1989? The year of the dragon is followed by the year of Kelly.
Cat?
No, the snake. The Muslim calendar marks time in 354-day years, beginning with Muhammad's flight from what city? Mecca. From Mecca. Let's have some 10-point snappers. In what city would I find the communities of Outremont and Westmont? Jonathan.
Quebec?
In what city? Miramichi. Montreal. What was the name of the last Chinese dynasty? Toby.
Manchu.
No, dynasty. Jonathan.
Ming?
Qing, C-H-I-N-G. They weren't Chinese, the Manchus. On a standard digital phone, how many letters are found above the first row of numbers? Derek.
6.
In 1972, a hockey summit series was played between which two countries? Jonathan.
Canada and the USSR?
Which country boasts the world's oldest national anthem? Jonathan.
United States?
No. Miramichi? Toby.
Japan.
Japan. Word puzzles. Let's try these three. I'm looking for a letter in each case. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning a group of persons related by common descent, blood, or heredity to create a second word meaning an extremely small amount of some chemical component? The letter is a T, race and trace. The second one, what letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning to peruse and apprehend the meaning, or to pursue rather, and apprehend the meaning of something written, printed, etc., to create a second word meaning to fear greatly? D, read and dread. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning any various eruptive conditions of the skin to create a second word meaning small bulbous plants used as a seasoning in cooking? Dugan.
C.
C, hives and chives. That buzzer indicates that we are going to finish this game off with some snappers, see what happens to The exercise, 10 points each. What term describes a listing of writings based on some organizational principle, such as a subject, an author, a library, or a collection? Derek.
Bibliography.
Right. Which American biochemist and author wrote the Foundation Trilogy? Isaac Asimov. In biology, what do you call a sudden change in a gene or unit of hereditary material that results in a new inheritable characteristic? Toby.
A mutant?
Mute?
Mutant.
All right, mutant or mutation. Which Israeli city is a major industrial center, a railway hub, and one of the country's main ports? Israeli. Haifa. In law, what term describes a fabrication or alteration of a written document with intent to deceive or defraud? Derek.
Forgery.
The village of Malpec, known for oysters, is in what province? Jonathan.
BC.
Oh, Miramichi. Malpec. Toby.
Quebec.
PEI. Malpec. What name is given to the 8 blessings spoken by Jesus at the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount? Eric?
Beatitudes.
All right. What ancient computing device uses movable beads strung on dugan?
Abacus.
Abacus. What gaseous radioactive element was discovered by Rutherford in 1889? Ernest Rutherford discovered radon. Which American historian wrote an account of his journey west called the Oregon Trail? Francis Beckman. What mythical creature was Lorelei? Lorelei was a siren. La Mandragola was the product of which 16th century Italian writer? La Mandragola? That's Machiavelli, who's a little better known for The Prince, of course. Well, that is the end of this game, and we do have a score of 255 for Miramichi Valley, 140 for J.M.A. Armstrong. We will see who has won this contest, an exhausting and spirited one, after we return from this short break.
Hi, I'm Terry Segay. Coming up on our show Monday night, a typical environmental horror story with a not-so-typical ending. A river gets poisoned and badly polluted. That, unfortunately, is fairly common. What is not common, however, is the company admitting responsibility for the problem and promising to clean things up. That is one of the stories we'll have for you Monday night on the CBC News, Fort Brunswick. See you then.
Game 18 is out of the way, and Miramichi Valley is the victor, 255 points. So congratulations to Derek, Dugan, Toby, and Lori. They will be back with their winning ways, I trust. We wish the best to J.M.A. Armstrong High. They went through 2 games on this season at Reach for the Top, did very well, and we hope to see them again in the future. We, of course, will be returning with another game as we start to eliminate some of our winning teams in our 1988-89 competition. Until next time, we'll leave you with the words of Cardinal Newman. A great memory does not make a philosopher any more than a dictionary can be called a grammar. Until next time, thank you for joining us on Reach for the Top.